Hi, it's me, Kim, again. Today, I've thought a lot about what um, um, my husband and I talked to you about yesterday. And what I'd like to do is talk to you today about how I how I've dealt with and how I felt about my child and my husband. Um, Initially, when I was diagnosed, I was afraid that I was going to die. I thought I was catapulted to the end of my life. And that isn't something that I, all I thought about was how I haven't taught my son everything I need to teach him. I haven't spent enough time with him. I haven't seen him graduate from, at that point, high school, let alone college. I want to see my grandchildren be born. I want to hold them. I want to take care of them. I want to help. I just want so much more in life. And what happened is I was catapulted to the end of my life and thinking about dying. And that's not necessarily the attitude that we're supposed to have. However, it is the attitude that many of us do have when we're diagnosed with cancer. I've been told many times not to have that attitude, but the reality is that I think one out of every two people will be either diagnosed with or affected by cancer in their lifetime. One out of every three, or maybe five, I think it's one out of every three will die of cancer. So the reality is that this is the possibility is that it could ultimately be the end of my life. Right now, I'm no evidence of disease. Um, started to have some. I'm starting to have some liver issues. I don't think that that's related to the cancer, but we don't know. I just found that out. I guess that's not talking about my husband, but I guess in a sense maybe I can talk to you about him about that. But so now I'm having some liver issues, um, and I'm concerned about it, as are my doctors. I haven't had the nerve to call oncology yet to tell my doctor, my neuroendocrine tumor specialist, that I'm having liver problems. I had a liver enzyme test that came back at 400. It was tested multiple times, and a CT scan is showing inflammation of my liver. So that's a concern. Um, and my lungs are being watched because I've got some nodules on my lungs, but everybody has nodules on their lungs. But because I have neuroendocrine cancer, there's always the risk and concern for that. So, excuse me, I'm sitting outside now, so I do look at things. It's not that I don't have a good attention span, it's that I've learned that I look at anything that's beautiful. And it seems like I find most things beautiful right now. I'm just grateful to be alive, and everything's a miracle and beautiful. Because I don't know what will happen and where I will be tomorrow or within 3 months. My cancer can be very, very aggressive and very, very dangerous. Um, and so, we had a weekend where I had to go to the hospital. I got sick, couldn't, I was having what I call Whipple attacks. They feel like I'm having a heart attack. And what will happen is I don't know what is causing them, but I'll have pains in my abdomen that go up right into, right at my heart, and I can't breathe. And what will happen is my body will automatically go into the fetal position. Excuse me, I have a cat hair on my, or dog hair. The two dogs, I always kiss them, so I got something somewhere. There it is. It's a fuzz. No, it's a dog hair. Um, but excuse me for that. I'm always messing with my face because I'm always kissing and hugging my dogs, and then we have cats next door, and any dog I see, I love them, love them. love them even more since the cancer. Anyways, so we had a rough weekend. The Whipple attacks are excruciatingly painful. Feels like I'm having a heart attack. I can break them with nitro usually, and I was not able to break them. So what happens is that my body keeps curling up in the fetal position, and I'm having hideous pains. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't do anything. And then I started vomiting. That's not a good sign, because when I start vomiting, I can have some issues with my duodenum. There's an issue because of where they cut between the small intestine and the stomach. So we don't want me throwing up, because it can cause some tumors, according to my my oncologist. Anyway, so I ended up in the emergency room for 8 hours. Called 911. I am so sick of calling 911. I think I'll never have to do it again, and then I have to do it. So called 911, ended up in the emergency room, and was diagnosed with hepatitis. Not hepatitis 1, hepatitis A, B, or C, but some form of hepatitis that is not hereditary. It's very clear that I have it. They'd already made the referrals to hepatology, so now we've got to start watching my liver. So now I'm dealing with that, and lungs are not. I have some issues with my lower lobes. They're deflated. I believe that they're deflated. What is it they call? I don't use them. I was born with a genetic heart defect called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, and because of that, I've learned to breathe very, very shallowly, so it's very difficult for me. So my lower lobes on both lungs are collapsed. So it makes some things difficult, like breathing. That's kind of a big thing. So that's a big thing to have a problem doing is breathing, since breathing is the biggest issue that you need it for your lungs. So anyways, the doctors are watching my liver and my lungs. I'm not gonna be too terribly concerned about it right now. I just can't. Reggie he does this thing when he doesn't want to deal with something that doesn't exist. So him and I would have an entirely different view of what happened this weekend. He heard that I might have hepatitis A, and found out that it is hereditary, and that Joshua and him could get it. So he was freaking out. Then the doctor came back in and said I don't have hepatitis A, B, or C. However, I do have hepatitis. It is inflammation of the liver. So we've been arguing the majority of the weekend over that, because he says that no, I don't. Nothing is wrong with my liver. I wish that were true, but this is the way that it is with him. Mostly I think he does it because he doesn't want to upset me. And he loves me, and he's very worried about me, and he's worried about me being upset. And he doesn't need to be worried about me being upset. I need to know that he will be okay if I don't make it. I need to know that he can live a happy life. And I'd like him to find somebody and be happy. I love him so much that I would never want him to be alone. So I'll talk about that now. I'll talk about what it's done with me and Reggie. It's made our relationship much stronger. I love him more than I ever have, and I didn't think that was ever possible. It's not been easy. It's been hard. Do we have fights? Yes, we do. It's extremely difficult for someone to, it's very difficult for someone to handle what he's had to handle and try to keep it in. And he's an introvert, so he doesn't want to talk about it. But it's difficult for him to keep it in. I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I like to talk. He doesn't. Guess what? Don't always get along for that reason. But we always love each other. And there's so many things that I want to say to him that I've never been able to say about him. First thing is that my husband gave me the best life. He's been the best husband, and I would marry him every single day over and over and over again. He has been wonderful, and I'm blessed to have him. We've had our wedding anniversary is coming up, and it will be 21 years. We've had 21 years of marriage, and we've been happy for 21 years. It hasn't been easy. Times have been hard. We've dealt with some really, really rough stuff. Really rough stuff. But we've gotten through it, and we've gotten through it because of how much we love each other. And I worry about if something happens that I don't live through the cancer, that he will be so depressed that he won't be able to get over it, and he won't be happy, and I don't want that. I want him to be happy. I want him to reach his dreams. I don't want any moments to be wasted mourning me, because I won't be dead. That'll go into another discussion. I'll just mention real quickly. I was born with a genetic heart defect with Parkinson-White syndrome. It was pretty severe. I've had symptoms since I was a kid. My mom knew how to handle them, so anytime I got real upset and couldn't breathe, my mom and dad could bring my heart rate down and take care of me. So I was born with this defect, and it is very, very serious. It's affected my grandpa. My grandpa's brothers died of it. It's responsible for people who have automatic, just sudden death. And what happens is that there's issues with the electrical wires in my heart. I have extra